Okay, I'm just opening up now for everybody. Just going to switch my view. Hi, Laura. Hiya. Hi, Kate. Hi, Maddie. I'm just going to, oh, good, it has changed my name back. My son was using this account for his karate lesson yesterday and just suddenly thought I better change the name back. But I'd done it, so that's good. All right, lovely. Good to see you guys. I'm going to invite you to unmute, so you don't have to if you don't want to, but it'd be nice to hear from you. I hope you're all okay. Crazy foggy evening here. I don't know what it's like where you are. Just let me know, open up the chat box, say hi, let me know how you're doing today, what you're up to. We've had quite a chilled weekend, actually quite a quiet one. Using the lockdown excuse really just to take a bit of a back seat today has been really, really nice. So we are end of week 4. Where has that gone? Hey, how are you feeling about things? Let me know in the comments how you're doing, what you've been up to, how you're feeling about Focus on Me at the moment. I know I've had a couple of little messages from some of you this week saying, oh, I feel a bit behind and stuff. And it's like, no, you're fine. You're just where you need to be. So don't panic. I saw Kate, your post earlier in the group, just saying you finally feel like you're sort of caught up in where you want to be. But that's actually fine. So Val's here now as well, which is great. So I'm just going to change the name there. There we go. Good evening. Okay, good. We've got everybody here now. Fantastic. Nicola's not joining us tonight. She's going to catch up on the replay. I don't know if you guys saw the video that I did with Nicola. What day was it? Friday. Where she just reached out. She was struggling with some stuff and I gave her some questions to think about. And then I just thought, actually, let's just jump on a call because I'm sure we can break through some of this really, really quickly. And so we shared the video in the group for you to have a look at. You don't need to watch it unless you particularly want to. But again, if you fancy sort of listening to something in the background, it might just provoke some ideas for you. So I would love to know, just in the chat box to begin with, just a few words that sum up kind of how you're feeling coming into tonight's call. What's, whether you're like Maddie said, she feels fine, but she's had a tough week. So just give me a few words or a sentence, how you're feeling coming into tonight's call for me. And I'm going to just change my settings a little bit there. And Val, I think your camera's gone off. As long as that's intentional, that's fine. So Maddie, fine, have a tough week. Bit fed up, Val saying. Is that coming into tonight's call? Bit fed up, Val? Just give me a bit of clarity on that. Feeling okay, just craving jam. Kate, are you still on the no refined sugar journey? That's been a week now, hasn't it? Yeah, it has been a week. Wow, okay, craving jam. Don't even go there. All right, guys. So I want to just give you the opportunity to have a bit of a reflect on like where you are coming into this call tonight, but then also just what you're feeling really good about. So I think, again, I like to start with this because I think it's really easy to skip past the good stuff. It's really easy to focus on the things that you feel like you should have done that you haven't done. And all you're doing is you're just putting the weight of stuff you don't need to on your shoulder. There is a saying about when you use the word should, I should have done this, I should have done that. It's almost like you're shouldn'ting all over yourself like you're shooting all over yourself. So I think it's like, I don't want to say it too loudly just in case there's kiddos in the background, but it's just like, actually, we don't need to put this weight of like should do stuff. Let's just be where we are. And if we want to do it, if we need to do it, we feel like it's the right thing to do, then let's just do it. So where are we going? Oh gosh, tech problems. Also switched your freezer off. Oh no, as everything in there is no longer frozen. Oh dear, that doesn't sound good. So Kate's still on it. A week today, only sugar only sugar I'm having is from fruit and no alcohol either. Okay, good on you, Kate. That's amazing. All right, so I would love to know what you're feeling like you've progressed this week, progressed and proud of. Let's start with that. So if you want to speak, then go for it. Feel free to speak up. If you want to just type in the comments, then that's cool as well. So I would love to know what you're feeling good about, what you've progressed, and what you're feeling proud of this week. So give me a wave if you want to just speak up. Or just pop a little note in the comments. I loved last week actually, where everyone was kind of just diving in and chatting. It was really, really nice. So Laura, are you up for getting started? See you sort of waving your finger.
Yeah, I'll go first. First of all, I'm blatantly in my dressing gown and pajamas and just got out of the bath. So sorry, everyone.
Lovely.
I'm not massively feeling like I've progressed or I'm proud of anything though. So I'm not sure what I should be saying. It's just going to be a very long road for me, I think.
Yeah. And so maybe this is something for us to unpick, maybe in a separate call, Laura, but I think you're quite hard on yourself. I've seen that and I know that. And I'm getting that vibe from you now, because I think there are definitely going to be things this week that you can feel proud of and progress. And maybe it's about, for you, just feeling like that's a bit of a wider net than just this course and just this program. So actually, you know, what are the other things? And you don't need to share them necessarily here, but maybe some things for you to think about. What are the things that you've progressed, steps that you've taken maybe outside of this immediate program, and really just try and connect to like those little steps, because we don't always notice the little things. Like, oh, well, that's just part of life. Of course, that's progress, that's stepping forward, but we don't really acknowledge it. And I think that sometimes it's really, really easy to be tough on yourself and be like, I haven't achieved anything. I don't feel good about anything. Everything this week's been terrible. But actually, you've had a bath. You're dressed again. Like, you know, that's good.
That's good.
That's good. You know, and I think so. It's like, that's a good thing. And especially when this like weather's a bit murky and stuff like that, that can really have an impact on like your energy levels, your kind of motivation levels. And so I definitely feel that. I was talking about that earlier in the week actually. But I do feel like there is this seasonal change upon us now as well. And I think that has an impact on like how energetic we feel. And I think my own energy changes. Like I definitely feel like more of a kind of go-getter in summer. Whereas in the winter, I'm still on a journey with my actions, but my energy is just different. And I think it's just acknowledging what that is for you and how that shows up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I went for my first run in a long time. It wasn't really a run, but I just felt like doing more than walking.
Yeah.
So that was really positive. And I've been sleeping a little bit better, I suppose. So there you go. I am too hard on myself. I know that.
Progress. Yeah.
I'm just going to write some things down now. That'll be lovely.
Write those things down, and those things that you've done this week that have been like, like you went for a run instead of you having a walk. And so that's progress. That's amazing. You know, I think it's just about noticing the little things sometimes, because it's the little things that we do that are kind of like these micro steps that we just discard. We just take them for granted and we don't really pay attention to them. We look for the big stuff, but actually it's the small steps. You know, when we do those things and we notice them, they're the things that help us every single day. So yeah, so I definitely encourage you as well to connect to gratitude. So think about, you know, some of those things you're feeling grateful for in your life, you know, the family, whatever it is for you, you know, having a nice warm bath. Oh, so good. Had a bath this morning, actually. It was lovely. Thank you, Laura. And thanks for kind of talking about that, actually, because I think it's really easy for people to say, oh, well, I did this, I did that, and, you know, that felt really good. But sometimes it's really hard to connect with what feels good in your life, you know. So thank you so much for being honest about that, because I think that will really resonate with a few people as well this evening.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so anybody else? Maddie, do you want to say something? What have you progressed and what are you feeling proud of?
What I've progressed with is I feel I'm working a lot harder. I've taken on a course in autism because of my nephews.
Yes, you talked about that.
And yeah. So I've been doing that this week. I've been a bit like stressy about it, just to myself, but you know, I've been getting a bit stressed. But I feel I'm working harder, and I've managed to carry on with the walking to work, even though this week it was only once or twice. I can't remember why, but there was some reason. Oh, I know, the plumber was coming on Monday, so
okay.
I told him he was coming after work to finish off putting my shower in, so I had to kind of there wouldn't have been enough time to get home if I'd walked.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. Like if you're saying to yourself, right, there are going to be some days where I've got householdy stuff going on, I'm going to make that choice, and that's completely cool.
But I always factored in like 1 or 2 days anyway
Yeah.
for just going by car. So yeah, it's been a bit of a strange week, but I do feel, as I say, I feel really proud that I'm gradually working harder and harder at things like housework and the course and everything. So
Yeah,
I'm
and I
putting it all
think,
in.
yeah, definitely. And I think when you're talking to yourself about working harder, I think actually one of the things that I'd really like you to focus on is like, yes, where are you maybe placing more effort and energy? Because that's really useful to know. But also, where are you getting more efficient? Where are you working a bit smarter rather than a bit harder? Where are you noticing now those little shortcuts that you're taking along the way that are helping you to be more productive the next day? So, really noticing those and honing in on those.
That's interesting.
So, I think that's something to have a think about.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I mean, I've been sort of, I've been thinking, you know, oh, I'm not working hard enough. Sorry, thinking I'm not getting where I want to be, because I felt really stuck this week in terms of sort of, oh, it's, you know, that same familiar feeling, do they call it? Where you feel a familiar feeling, you sort of, you're the same person and nothing's going to change and that kind of thing. But then I've thought about, you know, people who have to work for years and years and years before they see any results in something and that kind of thing. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And those things take time. And that's why, you know, that theory of the compound effect is so powerful, because it's like I could drink this glass of water now, and then not have anything else to drink today, and I would obviously be dehydrated. Now, doing that once for today, that would actually probably not do my body that much harm. I'd probably get a headache. I'd probably feel a bit unwell. But if every day I didn't take that water, then obviously within a few days I'd be really poorly. But it doesn't take much to turn that around and notice the impact. But again, some things, like you said, take longer to notice the impact of. So it's about just trusting that what you're doing is the right thing. If it is the right thing, if it's aligned to what you're doing, it's like that. Well, it's like you were sharing actually, Maddie, in the group. And thank you so much for sharing this as well, that you talked about you were using your diet shakes. And then you'd actually kind of just sat back and worked out what that meant. And I thought that must have been a really powerful moment for you. I don't know if anyone saw that, but Maddie was sort of commenting in the group about having a couple more diet shakes than usual. And actually then she'd stepped back, Maddie, hadn't you? And worked out what the calorific kind of content of that would be over a longer term period. And it was quite a stark picture, wasn't
it? Sorry.
No, I was going to say it's quite a stark picture.
Yeah. 600,000 extra calories a year.
Yeah. It's a lot, isn't it? And so I think sometimes when you allow yourself to think, right, what would the impact be of those things, you know, and actually for positive or to kind of give you that wake up call, that's really, really helpful sometimes. So it was good that you did that. All right, awesome. So anything else, Maddie, in terms of your progressed and proud ofs?
No, not really, no.
Okay. All right.
No,
Val, do you want to share anything?
Yes, please. The technique that you said last week about this brushing things off, you know, I actually have been using it probably every couple of hours this week during my working day. As you know, and as I've said to you before, it's very stressful, but it has worked for me.
Good.
The stress is still there, but the levels of stress are not so great, because it's like, you know what, I don't actually care. I'm not going to carry it around with me. I'm just going to brush it off.
Brilliant.
I had a very big walk out yesterday and a lot of fun mapping some outdoor gym stuff for a charity, which was great fun, and it was beautiful sunshine as well. And then only spoiled today by the fact that about 60 quid's worth of freezer food is just not frozen anymore. So I went there to get a bagel out for tomorrow morning, actually, and I thought, it's a bit soft. So
Oh, no.
all the chicken and all the mince and all the beef and, you know, fish. And so I've just closed it up again and switched the freezer on, because otherwise, you know, the place will stink high
Yeah.
heavens tomorrow. So it'll all be having to go in the bin. And
Well, there might be some stuff that you can salvage, cook, and then refreeze again. You know?
no, I don't think so. I think it has been off for probably 3 days.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Well, I think so, because I have a freestanding drying rack, as it were, and it's heated. And I washed some clothes on Thursday and dried it, and then obviously switched it off Thursday evening. So, well, Friday, Saturday, and today Sunday. So yeah.
Oh dear.
So my fault, but you know, hey ho, it's not going to spoil my week. It's
No.
only food. It's not, you know, nobody had an accident, thank God. I didn't feed I didn't feed anybody.
Yeah, that was good.
Yes. But yes, I'm afraid I have to admit to being a bit behind on the program, because work, as you know, is stressful, and I'm just too exhausted in the evening to even think about doing anything like sitting down, looking at my computer screen,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know, and doing some work. So I'm a week behind, but I'm catching up fast.
Yeah, and actually, I will say that the program in a way is kind of front loaded, so it's a lot heavier in the first few weeks than it is later, because, and I do that on purpose, because there's a lot I want to share with you to get you to that place where you're sort of discovering things about yourself, uncovering things, and making progress. So what you'll notice in the next couple of weeks is that actually the volume of videos is less, but that the work that you'll be still doing will be building on where you are. So you'll notice that. And that's why I also have that space at the end for those last few weeks. Actually, for us, it'll be leading up to Christmas, where there are no real additional videos apart from me jumping in live and giving you some coaching and some support. But actually, it's all about you turning that into the next stage for yourself. So you haven't got to worry. If you're feeling like, oh, I'm a bit behind, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not behind, you are where you are. It's absolutely fine. And that's why we build in that space to be able to do those things. So you might find that sort of next week, actually, you've got a bit more space, so you catch up, and you may even then do the other bits as well, because actually they're a little bit less taxing for you compared to where you are. So everyone sort of has different challenges in this program. Some people really, really find week one challenging, because it's like about consolidating those visions and things like that. Other people fly through that, and it's not until they get to week 3 or 4 that they suddenly feel like, oh, this is really, really tough now, really challenging. So don't worry about that. I hope that's hopefully that'll give you some reassurance, but that also the same for everybody as well. So, and you know, I'm here to support you every stage of the way as well. So and I know that, you know, and Kate had commented earlier, like, oh, she'd done her homework like last minute, you know, and that's absolutely fine. And, you know, sometimes when you're doing, you know, working and you're trying to do this, it's not like this is just your life. You're just like having a leisurely time when you're just sitting doing this work. Like, you've got a life to lead as well. So you have to give yourself permission to let it work around you. But also, it's like one of those tricky balances, because the more that you put into it, the more you get out, but you can't put too much into it at the detriment of other things.
No, but it's also great that the content is there and it isn't removed, you know, so that you've got time to, you know, because often, I mean, I'll go back and I'll just look at the videos from week 1 and I'll just refresh my mind, and then it helps me sort of refocus when I read, you know, when I was looking at the content from week 3 this week.
Yeah, and I've done that in programs that I've been part of. You know, sometimes I've done the program and I've sort of where I'm at, and then I might just go back and just listen to stuff without my workbook in front of me or anything like that, but just listen while I'm out walking or cooking or whatever. And it's just kind of it's in on some sort of subliminal level, rather than me actually sitting there with my workbook and feeling pressured to do something. Because sometimes I think when you're putting yourself under pressure to, right, now's my time, I have to do it, actually sometimes that's a bit of a blocker. So to just let things flow a bit better, and then having those ideas and insights when they arrive is great.
Thank you.
So I think, so, you know, for everybody, but also, you know, for you, Val, it's like, actually just step back, you know, relax a bit. So was there anything that came up for you guys in this week, whether it was this week's content or last week's content, doesn't matter, or actually anything from previous weeks that you've revisited, that you had questions about, that you wanted to understand a bit more, you wanted to make sense of a bit for you? So Kate, if you want to pop anything in the chat box, then feel free to do that as well. I know you're not keen on coming and sort of speaking and being visible, and that's completely fine. So obviously pop anything in the chat box. Everybody else, the same thing as well. If you'd rather pop it in the chat box, feel free. But if you've got any questions, any particular comments, then now is our time to share those. I think for me, this week is quite powerful in terms of habits, because it's felt quite heavy last week and this week with the beliefs and the habits. But it's really, really important stuff, because when you've started to identify what the beliefs are, you started to identify what the habits are, you can start to see how some of those things roll in together and why you make the decisions, the choices you do or you have. And it gives you that useful information. And so we're not going to necessarily, in the next couple of weeks' content, we're not going to be talking about habits, beliefs as such. We're going into a different phase, which is about your energy and how you show up for yourself and how you can sort of balance that energy. But this is really, really important in terms of giving you that groundwork. And it also links in with your vision, because quite a lot of the time I find that people want to achieve a certain vision, but if they haven't got the right mindset in place, the right beliefs, and they're utilizing habits that are getting in their way rather than serving them, then you don't know that at the beginning of the program. So now you know that. It's about how you turn that around into doing something about it. So hopefully that makes sense. It's like one of those things where I want to give you everything all in the first week, because it's all so useful, but that would be completely overwhelming. So obviously that's impossible, can't do that. But it sort of layers on as you go on week by week. All right, so any questions, any comments, anything you're learning about yourself? So when you're, again, just reflecting on how you're doing things, you know, and you're just thinking, what am I learning about myself? What am I picking up? I think one of the things that I want to acknowledge is that actually how you're all doing this in a way that works for you. So Laura, you mentioned last week on our call, you were like, I'm coming off Facebook. I'm cutting my socials for a bit. I'm just going to be a bit easier. I'm not going to participate in the Facebook group as much. And I think, so you empowered yourself to make that choice. And so I think, you know, these are some of the things that I want to be picking up about, you know, learning about yourself, that actually I am empowered to make a choice, to make a decision and to step back, you know, and Val, similar, and you're saying, actually, I can't do this during the week around work. I'm making that choice to put something, you know, my own well-being first, and not get overly stressed out about trying to cram loads into a day. So I think, you know, those are some of the things. It's not necessarily learning skills or behaviors. It's like actually just what insights you're getting about yourself. What are you discovering about how you show up for yourself and what that means? So I think those things can't be underestimated. And actually, Laura, I'm curious from your point of view. I know you made that choice last week to step back. Have you begun to notice any positive differences or anything that you've sort of noticed about stepping back from social? I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't feel as anxious with different things. It's hard to explain. I feel like I've got more time to do the things that I want to do. So if it's, you know, do the washing up or do the washing or play with my kids or go for a walk, I don't feel like I'm tied to my phone. And I did go back and I set up another username like you suggested, Amy, but I must admit I haven't been on at all. And I think possibly it's just so connected, isn't it? I'm trying to sort out my house because eventually we'll be moving because we've got some building work to be done. So I'm trying to get rid of some stuff. And obviously, where do you go to sell it? Facebook.
Yeah.
It's such a big part of life. So I'm not sure it's practical to come off it straight away, but I'm hoping this will teach me that I don't need to be on it all the time. It feels great. And I'm not on my phone. You know, I'm not working with the Shepherd's Huts, which is my business. So I haven't got to be on my phone, you know, doing emails and things like that. So the kids are seeing me not on my phone. It's lovely.
Yeah. And I think that is a really, really useful insight, because, I mean, I obviously use my phone and my computer a lot for business and social and things like that. But I made a choice a little while ago to actually really boundary my time and to think, like when I was going on to say use a social media, I made a choice. I was going on with a purpose. So I was either going on to share something or to interact with people or whatever. I wasn't just going to go and I would scroll. And what I did is I set up a few things that meant that I saw my family's posts first in Facebook, for example. So
Yeah.
they're the people I'd like to catch up with. So I saw those and then I could say, all right, I'm all caught up now, not like this, sort of thing. And so I think that's so good if you've made that choice to say, right, I'm having a bit of a tech-free time and, I'm going to actually just step back a little bit from it. I think that is really, really good. And I would encourage all of you guys to give that a go, whether it's for an hour, a day, whatever feels good to you, but just tech-free time is so, so important, I think, for all of us. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that, Laura. So what's happening here? So Kate is saying, still on it. Yeah. Oh no, Val said. Oh, so Val said, Laura, you could always have a garage sale. Yeah. So pop a sign up at the end of the lane.
I was going to say, I live in the middle of nowhere. Up a track, about a mile up a track.
Put a sign on the main road.
Come to my garage.
We'll come up with some ideas for you, Laura, don't worry.
Thank you.
And actually, even what you're saying about this act of decluttering, this feels quite symbolic to me, because it's like you've decluttered some of the tech in your life, or you're in that process. You're decluttering some of the other stuff that's going on for you and having a sort out. And I think there's something really symbolic about decluttering, whether it's tidying up a desk, whether it's sorting out a drawer, taking the food stuff out of your cupboard, wiping and putting it all back in. I think those sorts of things really help us to feel like a sense of achievement, but B, it's like a bit of order in life. And I think even if you're not a really meticulously tidy person, and even if it doesn't stay like that forever, it doesn't really matter. But the actual simple act of saying, right, now I'm going to put some things in order, it's like your brain almost goes, that feels quite good to have things in place. And it helps.
I've always thought that I was, sorry, Amy.
No, it's all gone.
I've always thought I wasn't that person. I always laughed at those people that couldn't, relax, or if they hadn't done the washing up, or, things like that. But it turns out I am one of those people now. Like, life's changed me and that's how it is. But that's, it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, useful information. Okay, so sorry, Maddie, were you going to say?
I was just going to say I picked up on some of the Spotify podcasts during the week.
Yeah.
I was listening to the one about having a wobble, and I was just listening to some of those which Val recommended, I think. So yeah, and I think they're quite helpful.
Yeah, absolutely, because sometimes it's just like listening to something, it just makes you, I think sometimes it makes you realize you're not the only one that thinks and feels these things. And when I'm sharing anything, really, I'm like telling you the truth about life, because yes, I'm all about like helping you to step in and live your best life and going on this kind of journey with me to move through, but it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it takes practice. Yes, there are some amazing like breakthrough, these are eureka moments, they're amazing. But it's like sometimes you just need someone to say like, it's okay to think and feel those things, and you don't have to be happy and positive and doing everything perfectly the whole time. That is just not life. Like, anyone that says to you that that's their life, they're lying. Or they've really got everything sewn up and they've got millions of people around them to help, because for most of us that is not the case. So I think it is about just recognizing those things, and sometimes hearing those messages, at the time you don't really think, you think that's interesting, useful, but then it's not until maybe later on when you are having that wobble and you think, what was that one thing that I took away from that message, and how's that going to help me now? And that's what I'm hoping, with this and with your workbooks as well, I want you to kind of go back, through your workbook and feel like this is like a working document for you, so that next year, you're looking back through this and you're kind of going through things and you're thinking, wow, look at what's changed, or look at all these things that have changed, but this one thing that I promised myself would change, that hasn't, and why hasn't that? And that's what I noticed when I went through this process myself. It was like I told myself, I was going to do certain things with my business, or I was going to start running again or whatever, and some of those things I did, and I really made happen. I took the bull by the horns, and other things I didn't. But it was like, so why didn't I? What was it about that wasn't important to me, wasn't a priority? Why wasn't it? Was it because I was procrastinating or avoiding it, which some of those things were? Or was it because actually I thought it was something I needed to do, and actually in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that important. It wasn't going to give me the results. And so you'll notice as you go through this, there'll be things that you thought were important that actually are no longer important, and they might become important again later, or they might just completely slip down the priority list. And there'll be other things that rise up, and that's completely fine. And that's just about navigating it together. Val saying we're not superwomen yet. Yes, I love that. Good growth mindset there. Good. You've been paying attention to that one, haven't you? Gold star. Amazing. Yeah, and I think, you know, I joke about that word yet, but that is so powerful, you know. And even when you're thinking, oh, I haven't done that, or I don't feel like I've progressed anything, you could say, I don't feel like I've progressed anything yet, because actually it's like the possibility is there, and actually in reality you have, haven't you? But you know, using that word yet, I know I've said it a few times, but it is so powerful. It's like picking up a song sheet for the first time and sitting down in front of a piano when you've never had a tinkle on the keyboard before. It's like, well, I can't play the piano. Well, of course you can't, because you've never done it before. But it's like, I can't play the piano yet. It's like, but now I'm going to make some effort to make it a possibility. So I think even just using that word, including that word, every time you hear yourself saying, I can't do it, or it's too hard for me, or whatever, just try and add that word on the end and see what opens up for you, because I think that is so useful. And the other one that I love using as well is the word and. So instead of saying but, substitute it with the word and. So it's the same sort of mindset pattern. If you're saying, I can't think of an example now because that was like straight off the top of my head, but just experiment with it. The next time you want to say but, just try and think, well, what if I replace that word with and? What would change for me in that moment? If I think of an example after this call, I'll pop it in the group. Yeah, it really does change your mindset and your belief. Absolutely. And like I said, these things, they take practice. They take time and they take practice. The more you notice it, which is why I'm always talking about awareness and noticing, the more you notice it, the more that you have the power to change it. If you're completely unaware, then how would you know to change it in the first place? It's it's deep down. So the more that I'm raising your awareness and pointing to some of these things that you might want to be aware of, then you have a choice. You can either take action on it or you can put it to one side for later. And that is absolutely fine. So next week's content, week 5, is all about energetic exchange. So it's all about you, your energy, how you're showing up. You know, I'm a real big believer in how we show up for ourselves, the energy that we give into ourselves, how we empower ourselves, how we take responsibility, really makes a difference in terms of the lives that we want to lead. So in terms of the next few weeks, just to give you a quick overview, because you're probably just like, where are we at in the program? We've got energetic exchange next week. Then the week after, we're focusing on resilience and motivation. And even though we've been dabbling with that again, like every week we've been together, just some helpful tips to help you stay focused. And there is a video in there as well about what to do when you have wobble. And then in week 7, we're going to be kind of going back to where you started and thinking about what does that mean in terms of what you want to be doing next. And then between week 7 and 10, which will take us really kind of up to Christmas time, that'll be your time and space to be working with me. We'll jumping on calls together, and I'll be helping you to create that future plan so that when you come, kind of you'll be finished the program, if you like, by Christmas. But I'm going to be doing something for you guys in January as well to kind of help you to carry that momentum forward into next year. But I'll tell you all about that when we get to the end of the next few weeks. I don't want to be rushing us ahead at this stage. So just focus on where you are. If you need to go back and do anything, you're feeling like I got my head into that, but I'm not sure that I've had enough focus on it, go back. The videos are all there. You've got the dashboard. Go back, look at your notes, look back at where you started. Remember to focus on that gratitude and what's good in your life, what you're thankful for, and really do that every day as often as possible if you can. and really keep that record in your books as well. And, you know, if you want to keep it in your notebook, then keep it in your notebook. But otherwise, you know, use your journal, because it's so helpful to have it all there. And that's what I love. Like, you know, digging back a couple of years, I think I might have said in one of our earlier calls, found an old workbook, and I was like, oh, there's my vision. That's what I was going to achieve, like in 2017 or whatever. Wow, you know, look at what's changed. And also it helps you to notice the patterns, like what are you saying you're going to do and you don't do. So it gives you some good insights into those things too. So I am here. You guys all have the opportunity to jump on a call with me as well during this program. So if you're feeling like you're a bit stuck or you need a bit of a hand, then reach out to me, either tag me in the group or drop me a message. And I'll do the same as I did with Nicola. We'll jump on a call together and I will help you in the moment. And the reason I like to share it within the group is because I think it's really useful information to see what's going on in other people's heads and how they get the breakthroughs, how they get the insights. And sometimes when you're an onlooker, it's so easy to see those things. Whereas when you're going through it yourself, it's really hard to kind of make sense of things. That's why you need somebody to help you to ask the questions. But when you're watching it, you think, oh yeah, of course. So she asked that and that happened. And then, you know, she went down this pathway. And I just think that's such a useful thing to be a fly on the wall for. So it was great that Nicola actually just said, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go live in the group. And we just made that happen. And, you know, if you really don't want to do that and you don't want to go live in the group, of course, I'm not going to force you to do that. So don't worry. There's no pressure to do that, but I think it's a really useful thing. So you've all got the opportunity to jump on a session with me at least once during this program, if not more, particularly as we go in those last few weeks as well, because it's all about helping you to get the best from your experience. All right, so let's just think about the week ahead. Have you got any particular goals or focus for the week ahead? Anything you particularly want to achieve? So this time next week, you're saying to me, right, I said this last week, I've gone and done it. I've made some progress. I've made it happen. And if there is, pop it in the chat box for me. And if you're struggling to think about what's ahead and it's more about you just maintaining where you are and staying on track, then just think what's going to be your kind of your word, your mantra, the thing that is going to help you to stay on track. I would love to know. And if you want to speak up instead of using the chat box, just give me a little wave and we'll come to you and we'll make that happen. Yeah, go on, Laura.
I'm going to put more effort in because I'm sitting here thinking, oh, you know, it has not, you know, it's going to take a long time. But I know what I need to do, but I'm just not doing enough of it. So you can all ask me that next week and make sure I've put more effort in.
Yeah, brilliant. And is it in one particular thing, Laura? Is it in the sort of the list of things that you've got going on at the moment?
Being mindful about my body. So every hour, just having a little mindful check, seeing what I can feel, where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Do I really need to eat all that food? No.
Yeah. Really noticing it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. All right, brilliant.
That resonates with me.
It's funny, there's a bit of a theme going on in this.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to change my niche.
What was that?
I said there's a bit of a theme
What
going
was
on in the group with all you guys on your little food missions. Maybe I need to change my niche. So Kate's just said, Kate's going to be focusing on saying no to the things that don't keep you on the path or don't make you feel content. Absolutely. And having more time for you. And that me time, like it doesn't have to, this morning, I'll tell you what I did. So my son, we sat down and watched a movie together and I said to him, I'm just going to go and have a shower. He was watching Frozen 2. I thought, great, he's captivated by that. But I'm just gonna go and have a shower. And anyway, on the way to the shower, I saw my Kindle on the side and I thought, I've not just sat and read for a few days. I thought I'm gonna run a bath. So I ran the bath, shut the door, closed the shower curtains so that if he came in, he couldn't see me. And I just sat there reading 20 minutes uninterrupted. And he came in, he said, I thought you were having a shower. So, well, you know. But you know what, even just having that time for me, 20 minutes, but it was just blissful. I knew I was going to get rumbled. It was inevitable, but I think just having that time for you, making that time for you, whether in those little snippets, wherever you can, is just so nice. It was bliss. It was lovely for that little moment. Okay, so Val, do you want to share anything?
Yeah, I'm just going to be honest with myself this week, and that, you know, if I because when I get stressed, I have noticed that one of my habits is I will start to root through the fridge, but obviously the freezer, which I can't now, but also I'll pull everything out of the cupboard to see if there's a chocolate bar or there's a biscuit or there's something in the back. And I literally had to stop myself from, you know, going to the shops the other evening. And, you know, I think I mentioned actually that on Friday, I had this real urge to have Chinese takeaway. And maybe I didn't, maybe I haven't fessed up to it. So I had this urge to have
You're fessing up now.
Yeah, Chinese takeaway. Anyway, so I rang the Chinese takeaway and it was engaged. And all the time in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I've got potatoes in the fridge and I've got a lovely piece of salmon, you know, that I can actually just bake, and I can bake the potato and I can have a salad. And so I'm filling the Chinese and it's engaged. Anyway, 15 minutes I was pressing redial and it was still engaged. And in the end, the penny suddenly dropped. I thought, do you know something? The universe is telling me actually go and eat the salmon and the baked potato and have the salad and enjoy it. And I did. So no Chinese. So I think in future, I'm just going to decide, actually, do you know, I know what I'm having for my dinner. I'm going to start making a decision in the morning about what I'm going to have for my evening meal. And then it's taken away from me. I haven't got to think about it. I look in the fridge and I think, right, I've got eggs, I've got bacon, I can make a lovely omelette with some salad and some spinach. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually you enjoyed it, and you know, you felt
I really
nourished
did.
by it as well.
Yeah. And I felt a lot healthier for it, and I hadn't put on, you know, probably 600 grams by not having the Chinese. So
yeah,
it's good.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's about training yourself to make those choices, and it is discipline and it is focus. And you know, it's easy for your mind to be like, oh, go on, just do it, you know, why not? And it's like this, like, good cop, bad cop, isn't it? You know, and actually on one hand, you're saying like, I know what I really want to be doing is eating something healthy or not eating anything at all because I don't need to. But on the other hand, you're the kind of the devil brain is like, oh, but go on. And if you haven't read or listened to it, there is a fantastic book, The Chimp Paradox. Professor Steve Roberts. I think I've got his book actually here. Let me just see if I can grab it a second. Hang on. See if I can find it. There we go. So this is the book. And he's also done another one recently called The Silent Guides, which is it's designed to give you an insight into using this methodology, but focusing on children and their behavior as well. And I've been listening to that and it's really, really interesting. So if you haven't read The Chimp Paradox, it is a super, super interesting read because it talks about the kind of you've got the kind of computer mind and you've got the sort of the monkey mind, if you like, and the chimp mind. And it's about how those things interact together and the games your brain plays with you and how you can respond from a resourceful place rather than going with what happens. So like if something happens, you know, road rage is a good example of this. Something happens, your monkey mind will respond in like road rage. But then the other part of your mind is like, but where's the logic in that? Because that's not going to solve anything. So it's about how you understand that part of your mind and how you then train yourself to respond differently to situations. Really, really fascinating. And as I say, the other one I'm listening to actually at the moment. Say again?
Stephen Peters, was it?
Yeah, Professor. I think he's doctor on this, but Dr. Steve Peters. Peters. Yeah. So there you go, The Chimp Paradox. If you Google it, you'll be able to get it in the library. If you're on audio, you'll be able to get it on audio. There's a great app called BorrowBox. So if you're a member of a library, you can often get this app for free and you can listen to loads of stuff for free on there. So that's worth looking at as well. But really, really interesting. in just making sense of those things that you're talking around sort of those battles that we have, the internal battles. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. Maddie, is there anything from you in terms of the focus for the coming week ahead?
Just walk or bike, try and walk or bike 4 times this week to work.
Brilliant.
And write down everything I eat, which is what you mentioned about earlier in the chat.
I think that's such a helpful place to start, because apps like MyFitnessPal are really, really helpful, but they're just like another level of complexity. So you got to scan the thing or write the thing or find it. Whereas actually that might get frustrating. So go with the path of least resistance, which is just writing it down. But you have to be absolutely honest with yourself. So if you have a biscuit, you write down one biscuit. If you have another biscuit, you write it down. If you have a glass of water, you write that down, and so and what's really interesting is that if you wait until the end of the day and then you write the stuff down, your brain will delete some of those poor choices. Whereas if you're writing it as you're going, you will get an honest account of it.
Right.
So it's like that's super useful. So just either put a little note on your phone or have a notepad or post-it notes, however you want to do it, but really, really useful thing to do.
Thanks.
All right, amazing. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. It's really, really nice to see you and to hear from you. And I want to say to you, like, keep going, because I know I say it all the time. I know this feels tough. I'm asking you to do a lot in a really, really short space of time. And I'm asking you to dig deep and to keep digging. And I know that's tough. And I know, there was Kate sort of had a bit of a joke that said, like, maybe I can get through 1 week without getting emotional about it, because I am asking you to kind of soul search. I am asking you to wake up some of those things that maybe you hadn't noticed for a long time. But I am doing it with all my good intentions, because this is about enabling you to take the steps that are really important to you. And so if we can uncover those things that are holding you back, and not necessarily go back, to any sort of traumas or beliefs or anything that's associated with those, that might need a different pair of hands. But actually, if we can get you to be aware of them, we can start to take actions now to move forward, or to notice them, or to change that language pattern. That will make an immediate difference. So I know it's tough, but I've got you guys. I'm here to help you every step of the way. And all you need to do is you need to just reach out and ask me for help. And I'm really, really happy to do that anytime. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all so much for joining. And I'm just going to say, have a lovely week. Use the Facebook group as you want to. Reach out to me, ask for help, go and be awesome. And then this time next week, we're going to be on this line, talking about all the amazing things that you've achieved. And I can't wait. I'm so excited. Have an awesome week, guys. I will speak to you all really, really soon. Okay, take care. Bye.